So in New York City, there are 3 classes of renovations. They rank in order of 1 to 3, where 1 is the most intensive or involved renovation, 3 is the least involved. So starting from the top, Alteration Type One. Put simply, these are alterations which can change a number of factors in the building, which will necessarily trigger a change to the certificate of occupancy at the completion of the project. We're going to explain certificate of occupancy a few slides later, but suffice it to say that certificate of occupancy is a document issued by the Department of Buildings which affirms and certifies what the use of that building is allowed to be. Whenever you complete a project, that will be issued to the owner. But certain alterations will necessitate you getting a new one because there will be some certain factors that that nullify or need to be updated. So those factors are the size and the shape of the building. So if you're making the building larger, if you're making the building taller, the egress to the building, how people get in and out, that's something that the building department and the fire department cares very much about. Changes to the use. So what is the building being used for? We mentioned earlier, generally speaking, townhomes are limited to residential use, but you may have, here and there, you might find a commercial use. And also, whenever you change the unit count, so if you go from a 1-unit townhome to a 2-unit townhome, or a 4-unit townhome to a 2-unit townhome, you also have to file for a new certificate of occupancy because that's considered a change of use. The last point I'd like to put about the Alteration Type One is that it will trigger a tax reassessment. This is really important for homeowners. What this means is that the Department of Finance will reassess your home for what your annual tax bill should be. Many homes in the New York City, especially single and 2-family homes, because of the complicated calculus of New York City tax law, many single 2-family homes pay far less in taxes today than they would if they were reassessed. The reason for that is because there are legacy laws that mean that limit the assessed value of the home. But if there's a reassessment of the home, those are all nulled. And so you get a much higher tax bill than you would otherwise be paying. Once again, I'm sure there's questions on that. Send them right to Dionisio. He'll compile them and we'll go over them at the end. Alteration Type One, a very rare case, is if you're dealing with a building that's in very bad shape and the cost of the work is more than the value of the building. Once again, it's an assessment issue, very technical, fairly rare. We're going to jump to Alteration Type Two. An Alteration Type Two is a change that involves more than one trade. When we say trade, we mean different trade groups within the construction industry. So for instance, plumbing, mechanical, carpentry, sprinkler. So a change that would involve more than one trade is, for instance, if you were to add a bathroom to your townhome, not renovate an existing one, but add an additional bathroom. You would be adding carpentry or we call that other work or general construction because you need to build the walls of that bathroom. And you would be hiring a plumber because you need someone to put in the pipes in the bathroom. That's 2 trades, so you go to an Alteration Type 2. Now, if you're doing more than one bathroom, for instance, if you have a townhome that's 4 floors and you're adding 2 bathrooms, one on the 3rd floor and one on the 4th floor, that's also an Alteration Type 2. So as long as you don't change any of the factors that would trigger an Alteration Type 1, you can do multiple trades. You can add a mechanical system. You can add a sprinkler. All of that would still be a Type 2. That's Alteration Type 2. We're going to jump into Alteration Type 3. These are changes that involve only one trade. So for instance, if you were adding a mechanical system only, that's just one trade. You're only adding these mechanical units and you're filing for it. it can also involve changes that are for temporary constructions. So for certain types of temporary constructions, this is more applicable to sort of event spaces where you might be building like a shed for a 2-day event. But potentially, if you were doing if you had a large yard for your townhome and you wanted to do some type of birthday party and you wanted to build something, maybe that would be a type 3. But generally speaking, an alteration type 3 in the context of a townhome would probably be adding, a fixture or two in a kitchen, or adding a mechanical system. It could be adding a bedroom if you were just adding carpentry or just putting in walls. But most likely, renovations that you do to the townhome are probably going to fall into the type 2, alteration type 2.